I'm going to go ahead and get started, and then people can just trickle in as they come. My name is Brian Rudden. I'm the proud principal of Pinecrest Cadence and Pinecrest Virtual, and it's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Welcome to Pinecrest Cadence. We're excited to get the 23-24 school year kicked off. So every year we go into the school year and we select a motto. It's a theme for the year. It's something that we align a lot of our thoughtfulness throughout the year around, and we try to line it up with our mission and vision, which I'll talk about in a second. This discussion usually happens over the summer with our leadership team, and we throw some different ideas at the wall, and then we select one that we feel like best embodies what we want to do to move the school forward. And so this year, the theme that we came up with was Be Connected. It was funny, the other night I was talking, I have a son and daughter, and I was talking to my son and telling him that, our theme is going to be connected, and his first response was like, Xbox or PlayStation? Or I'm like, no, we're not connecting technology. It's about being connected to each other. And so that's really our goal for this year, is getting students connected to each other. There's tons of studies out there, and it's clear as day, based off the studies, that the impact of social emotional well-being on students' academic success correlates almost identically. And so what we really want to do as a community and as a school is get students involved, because all students, all people want to be a part of something, right? We all want to be a part of either a community, a bigger school community, a team, an activity, a club, a performing arts program. Have a friendship, get connected to a person, another person, a friend. So we're really going to focus as a staff and as a team on getting students involved in as many things as they can. So our theme this year is Be Connected. Our mission and vision. Our mission, I look at this as like a light tower. This is our beacon. This is what we look at when we're making determinations or decisions as a school. This is our focus as a team when we're going through, whether it's an academic decision or evaluating different steps that we may need to take philosophically. We always refer back to our mission and vision as a school. So our mission from a school standpoint is to unite the community and to prepare students for college and career. I really like this. I like the united part because I believe that it's a partnership. It's a partnership between parents and the school, and between the school and the parents. And we both need each other. We really need you. We need your involvement. And hopefully you can lean on us and depend on us for clear communication, academic rigor, teaching the students as far as social emotional well-being, behavior expectations, and things like that while they're at school. So I really love our mission. Our vision is that scholars perform at the highest level on all academic measures. Again, we have high expectations for our students academically. For those who are going into high school, definitely ticks up a notch from middle school. For those who are going or are in middle school, there's high expectations, and you'll have plenty of work to do, but you can do it as long as you have a plan and you pace it out and you're organized and thoughtful and you don't procrastinate and all those things that I'm sure your parents or guardians have talked to you about over and over again. I still struggle with it from time to time myself, so it's a lifelong journey, but nevertheless, we do have high academic standards too. So those are our mission and vision. I'm not going to go over name by name, but I grew up playing sports, and I was a part of a lot of great teams. And it's so imperative to have good people around you. And this team that we have in secondary is absolutely the best team I've been a part of. Hands down, it's not even close. They're incredible. From top to bottom, every single person you see on the screen is not only a great person, a strong educator, loads of experience and knowledge, and will definitely be a great resource for you and your families as we go out throughout the school year. I do see a few of the faces in here, so I'll point them out. I have Miss Jamie Purdy, one of our assistant principals in secondary. We have Miss Rachel Galbraith and Miss Lorraine Oler. And there are 3 APs. All 3 are incredible and always happy to help support you however you may need. So definitely call on this team as we go into the school year. Just wanted to touch on some highlights before we get into stuff for the school year. Cadence was highlighted for having growth in ELA and math in secondary. This was the first time really since the pandemic that we've seen not only that our numbers were stabilized, but they grew and increased. Real positive trend, something we're excited about building from going into next year. The other piece of that is we returned a ton of staff. So the staff that participated and played a role in getting those numbers, 90% of them have returned. So that's great because that means one, they love this community, they want to be a part of it, but two, also they were a huge impact from an academic standpoint with their lesson plans, their rigor, and all the things that we know teachers do around the clock to provide great instruction. Pinecrest system as a whole, we've been highlighted on numerous occasions, both in the state and outside of the state, just as far as because Pinecrest started in Florida for those who weren't aware of that. Pinecrest is now in Nevada. We have 7 locations in this state, including one in Reno. And then a new one opening up in Springs Preserve, which is going to be a K2 to start, or K3 maybe. And then we've also started 2 Pinecrest in Idaho. So they'll open their 2nd Pinecrest in Idaho this year. And a lot of that is, again, just based on the incredible instructional model, the data-driven instruction, and all the things that, and really good people, honestly, because at the end of the day, it takes good people in the community. Performing arts, national competitions. Our performing arts programs are huge, so if you're a performing arts person, you've definitely come to the right place. We have orchestra, we have choir, we have color guard, we have dance. We have so many different avenues for performing arts at our school, and they've participated in Ohio, they've participated in the state of Nevada, they've participated in California. Choir went to Hawaii last year, and they'll be returning again this year. So definitely some travel, and dance is going to Florida this spring as well. So our students not only get to participate in these great activities, but they also get to travel and have that experience as well. Something else we're really proud of is our dual enrollment program. Can you just raise your hand if you're a high school student in here? High school student? Okay, awesome, we got a few. All right, so something we're super proud of is our dual enrollment program. Our dual enrollment program, we've paired with CSN for students to be able to go and achieve college credits while they're still in high school, at, in large part, our expense. Pretty cool. And so junior and senior year, students begin to start to go to CSN if they qualify. There's a vetting process that we go through as a school to ensure that they're highly qualified candidates, because they're going to be representing Pinecrest Cadence off of our campus at a college with other college students, so it's important that we have a process to that. But we've had many of students that have graduated with their associate's degree prior to even getting their high school diploma, which is absolutely incredible. So they're walking across stage to get their high school diploma and they've already gotten a college degree. And that's happened at least 20 times so far in the short time that we've had this program. So look forward to that continuing to grow and expand. But we've also earned over 4,000 credits, and as you may have seen, maybe you didn't, but if you didn't, check it out on the way out. Outside of the gym, you'll see a huge sign, and then we also have one in front of the middle school building, and this is where we kind of keep a tally of the credits and where students are at for achieving their credits. And we like to do this because I think if you see it and you know people from where you're from or what school you went to can accomplish it, it gives you self-belief too. So every time you walk in that door and you see that sign and you see, oh wow, people that went to this very school got all those credits from college while they were in high school. I can do that. If they can do it, I can do that. So it's a little bit of trying to create that self-belief, right? Because we don't know until we take that chance. So we're super thrilled about that program. Like I said, multiple associate's degree. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to just point out is our travel abroad. This year we had the first opportunity to take some of our high school students to Italy, and everybody made it back. It was great. Lots of amazing pictures. Next year they're already planning to go to Japan. So that's going to be a heck of a trip. And then I know Miss Bates, who's one of our ELA teachers for high school, she's done an incredible job with the organization that prepares these trips abroad. And she's going to put together a committee, and that way the students can kind of drive where they want to go in advance of it getting to be the point where they're going. So by the time they get to the age where they're able to go on the trip, they would have gotten to select some of those places that they get to travel to. Great experience. I got to travel through sports when I was 13 or 14, Ireland and England, and it changed my complete perspective. So I definitely, anybody who can do it, I encourage them to because I think it's a great opportunity. So we are a big school. I don't know, some of you may have already had a chance to walk around. If you haven't, definitely take the opportunity after this to walk around the whole campus. You have the high school building right behind us, the middle school building over to the side, and then the elementary building across the turf there. And you're coming at a great time if you're a new family, because we're finally settled through, finished all the construction. All these buildings are done. You don't have to worry about dump trucks and construction vehicles in the way of parking spots. And so families that are here that are returning, I see a few like shaking their heads, but we managed, we made it through. But nevertheless, we're settled in, we're in good shape moving forward, but we're a big school, 2,300 students this year and counting, and we look to be up to 2,400 by the time we're fully built out. 190 employees who are all here and dedicated to work hard for your families and your students. Major portion of this is our support staff and our TAs. You'll see them often outside working the lunches, working car loops like tomorrow morning. Please give them a lot of grace and kudos. They do such amazing work. We really could not do it without the frontline people like our TAs and support staff. And so we were super thrilled this year that all of our TAs and support staff came back because that's just going to allow us to have such a seamless start to the school year. And it also makes us feel good that they want to be here and they know they're appreciated. So again, give them a shout out when you see them because they work hard. We also have a virtual program that's housed on this campus. We have 110 students in that virtual program. Right now it's 6th through 11th grade, and the virtual program has about 110 students in it. And we look to continue to increase that maybe to around 300, 400 students potentially in the next few years. But this was something that we really saw through the pandemic was a need for a lot of our students. And so we were able to be the first charter school in the state to have a virtual component to it that was approved by the Charter Authority. So we're excited to be the leader in that. And we had our first successful year last year and look forward to great things this year. Director Serrano is the one who really oversees and spearheads that program, and she's done an incredible job. So that's also an option. If you have friends, family, or just down the road, consider that. These are our forms of communication. Communication is key. We try to always be candid and transparent with our communication. We also always try to give a lot of different avenues for you to get information. Additionally, we try to stay front-loading everything so you know well in advance of things happening. We're human. Sometimes we don't get things out as soon as we would like, but I would say 9 out of 10 times we really do. We have a staff that's really on top of this. And most of our staff are also parents, so we understand what it's like to find out things last minute and then have your student being like, well, I need to be here, and plans are already made. So we get the dynamics, and we try our best to make sure that things are communicated in a really clear and consistent way. But these are some of the ways that you'll want to check out. Email, Cougar Column. Another one that's up there that I would encourage you to participate in is our Parent Impact Meetings. We start our Parent Impact Meetings in September of this year. The Parent Impact Meeting, what it is it's an opportunity for us as a leadership team, myself as well as the rest of the members, to really address the community and talk to the families about maybe things that are coming down the pipe for the future, maybe different events that we're preparing for. Maybe there's some hot button issues that are going on as a campus that we just want to address collectively together. Because again, we're not trying to hide behind anything. We're trying to create a relationship where we're working together. And so we're always going to be open about things challenges that we're faced with as a school, and then ask you as the families to help support. Whether that means a conversation with your student, whether that means pitching in and lending us a hand, we're all in this together. And so that's something that we really pride ourselves in and we're proud of. And so the Parent Impact Meeting is a great opportunity to hear about those things. The nice thing is we do it on Zoom because we know we have working families and you don't always have the opportunity to take off. So you can view it at a later time. We'll post it on Facebook and different avenues. So if you don't get a chance to see it, definitely take the time to look back over it at the end of the night and just see what topics we tackled. And if there's any questions, as always, you can reach out and we're happy to get back to you. Another one that's really important up here that I want to touch on is Infinite Campus. So Infinite Campus is just the end-all, be-all portal for families and for students, quite frankly. Students, you should also be, because you're now in secondary, so you should be advocating and doing things for yourself a little bit as well. But for parents, you can check on Infinite Campus for their grades, updates on assignments. This is something that if you haven't already, I would definitely log in. There's an app that you can get on your phone or an iPad or whatever technology you may have access to. And then this allows you to get up-to-date information about student grades, student grade reports. Let's say, for example, I'll throw my kid under the bus, they're not here. So, my daughter, who's great, she's in 8th grade, and sometimes she's forgotten assignments and she's told me that they were due, or that she was done. Well, I'll get a little text message on my phone from Infinite Campus saying that the assignment is missing. And so then we have a conversation about honesty and all those things, and she's like, I did turn it in, and she did. She's a great kid. But the bottom line is it allows us as parents to really keep tabs on and keep track of our students' educational journey and where they're at. And if they're behind, you'll be able to see that. The nice thing about Infinite Campus too is the fact that many of the teachers will front load a lot of their assignments. So let's say a project, they might put it in ahead of time, and then that way you can see in advance, oh, hey, we got these things coming up in the next week or so as a family. We really need to get on that project this weekend because we're not gonna have time next weekend because of the things we have to do. So this allows you to really prepare better. So Infinite Campus, definitely get logged into that as a parent. The other thing is, I can't tell you how many times at the end of the year we have a retention meeting or different tough conversations, and almost 9 out of 10 times it's a situation where, unfortunately, for whatever reason, the parent wasn't able to access that tool. So I know it happens, but I just encourage you all that if you do run across any hurdles getting logged in or navigating the site, please reach out to us because we're happy to help. We want to provide you with those resources and give you that avenue to keep track of what your students are doing while they're at school here. But if you don't have that capability or you're not logged in, it will be harder to keep track of all the things going on, especially in secondary when you have 6, 7 different teachers. It's hard to keep track of it all, as a student and also as a parent. So, Infinite Campus. These are just some school norms as far as communication. I think the biggest thing I want to touch on in this slide is at the bottom. We all have a common purpose here, and that's the students, right? Going back to the mission, to unite the community. We're all in this together. So, we're human. We have bad days. Sometimes, write an email and fire it off, oh, should have waited a little bit before I sent that. But just please give us grace too. We're educators. We know that we have a job to do, and we try our best to make sure that we're meeting and exceeding those standards that are set. We're glad the bar's high. We want to keep the bar high, and we'll try and achieve and meet those goals. But please give us grace too. I think so much more can be solved as a community if we just interact with each other with a little bit of grace and kindness. I think it goes a long way, and I think you'll find that a lot more solutions come from places like that than from coming at it from a negative perspective. So I will treat everybody that way, our team will treat everybody that way, and I just encourage families, if you could do the same, we would appreciate that. Secondary attendance, this is important, of course. Attendance is always important. When you're in school and you're actively participating and you're getting those lessons in the classroom, there's nothing that compares to that. Yes, the teachers will always do as much as they can to get you caught up to speed, but there's nothing like a whole group instruction where you hear other questions going on, you can interact with students and peers. So please, as much as possible, I know it's not always easy. Things happen, we get sick, there's family things that take place, but try and be in school as much as possible. This really is impactful for high school students. I know if you raised your hand, for high school students, if you miss a certain amount of time, it can impact your seat time, which means you could potentially not earn credits. So make sure, and our counseling team will keep up to date with the students and run the reports and do their due diligence to make sure that nobody's slipping through the cracks and we're not missing anybody, because we don't want something last minute where the student's having to come summertime to do multiple credit retrieval classes because they didn't earn enough credits because of seat time. So if you can be in school, please be in school. The top part where it says 3 unexcused absences, just want to touch on that as well. If a student is kept home, a parent is allowed to write a excuse to the school for under 3 days, for like a doctor's excuse. Say student has a stomach ache, it's not something you need to take them to the doctor's office. You know they're going to get over it's 24 or 48 hour flu bug, they're going to be back in school. You can send a note so that we can mark them excused from an attendance standpoint, but anything over 3 days does require a doctor's note to get that excuse. So under 3 days, we can take a parent's note, that can be sent to our attendance clerk, all that information is on our website, and then over 3 days we would need a doctor's note or something more significant if it was going to be long term. We also do have like prearranged absence forms that I encourage you to fill out if you already know, hey, we have a big family trip, we can't reschedule, family reunion, different things that occur. We do have those forms as well. This allows it to where myself as principal, I'll sign off on it depending on if it's excused or unexcused, but it also allows our teachers to know ahead of time so they can provide the work to those students before they leave on their trip to make sure that they're not coming back to a mound of work that they're overwhelmed by. So if you are going to take a long-term trip, please make sure you're communicating that as well to the school and filling out the prearranged absence forms. Be here on time every day, starts tomorrow, go time. That's pretty self-explanatory. I know we are seriously excited. We've been working hard all summer. We can't wait to welcome all the students tomorrow morning. It feels like the summer just blew by. Every year gets quicker and quicker, but we're here and we're ready to get going. So I will, in a few slides, we'll get into Carloop and what that looks like as well, but definitely try as much as possible to be here on time every day. Behaviors. I'm not going to dive too deep into this because this is self-explanatory as well. What I will say is we are here to educate students. We are not here to babysit behaviors and deal with those kind of things that are excessive. With that being said, we always are going to take a proactive approach to trying to support any and all students. Sometimes there's antecedents or reasons behind the behaviors. And so as a team, our deans, our counselors, our support staff, they're always going to look into ways that we can support those students to hopefully work through some of the things that may be going on. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe it was a peer conflict. Maybe there was underlying negative peer interaction going on that we weren't aware of. So those are all things, those are steps that we're going to take first as a team. But what we ask from you as families and as parents is, again, when we do call to communicate, like there is a situation that happened, let's just all be on the same page and same team and work together to try and come to a solution that's going to work best so that the students can all get back to learning. Because that's, at the end of the day, what they're here for, is to get an education. We do follow the state laws and guidelines as far as restorative justice policies and procedures. Some of those laws and policies have changed a little bit recently, from last year to this year. And some of those changes, in my opinion, as an educator, are good. Because like anything, a pendulum swings one way real far and then swings back and then hopefully finds a good balance. So we've gotten back some ability to have a little more significant punitive consequences, which I know it's going to be for nobody in this room. It doesn't apply to anybody, but if it does, I think, it is important, especially in secondary and high school. There comes a point where there needs to be a healthy fear or concern of consequence. If it's just they know nothing's going to happen, then it creates chaos and a bad situation. So we've gotten a little more autonomy back as a school. We will definitely apply those high expectations that we do to academics to behavior, and we'll go from there. But again, I know I won't have to talk to any of these families ever at all in the entire school year, so we're good. All right, we are a uniform school for those who hopefully we're already aware, but we are a uniform school. I grew up, I went to a public school, and it wasn't a uniform school. But I am so glad that I'm at a uniform school. I didn't realize until I was here and how much I would appreciate it. I think it's a unifying force. I think it brings a lot of camaraderie. It really makes the students feel collectively a part of something bigger. And I think that's important. Not to mention it's a lot easier to get dressed in the morning and get out the door, and it's just everybody. It's so much more seamless. The one thing that I did try to add for secondary, and that was articulated in the email that was sent out a couple weeks ago, and based off the feedback from the students in the surveys, is we really did try to give some ability for expression, right? So you see that in us this year. We haven't in the past, but we're allowing unnatural hair color for students. This was something we discussed for a while as a staff through last year, over the summer, and as a leadership team. At the end of the day, for me, K-5, the younger kids, it's really up to the parents, in my opinion, if they want to allow their student to do that or not. Really probably all through high school too. But for high school, it was more or less the fact that we kept hearing, like, we have uniforms, we want to be able to have a little something that will allow us to have our individual personalities come through. And so we felt like that was important to do that. So we did move forward with allowing the hair color. The other thing was Spirit Days on Fridays. And the Spirit Day, again, circles back to the beginning with our theme of Be Connected. Really wanted students to be able to celebrate the clubs and activities and programs because we have so many of them. And so that's a really cool thing. Every Friday they can wear jeans or sports shorts and be able to wear their shirt and celebrate all the great things they're a part of in the Cadence community. You definitely will want to take a look at this. This is our extensive policy for our dress code. It is extensive, but it needs to be because there's a lot of different options out there. And so we just rather be super detailed, and new clothing brands, new styles come out all the time, so we have to continue to adapt and evolve this document or guide. But I would take a look at this. The first week or so, we give flexibility. We'll usually give a pass and just say if they're out of compliance, what that is. Is it back pockets? Is it the pants are too tight? What the situation is. And then we will give that to the student and communicate it to the parent so that we can make adjustments. We also do have some stuff on site today, and we'll have it throughout the year as far as shirts and shorts and different stuff. If you or anybody you know does need some support, we have a lot of things in stock at the school as well that we can support families with. This is our free dress policy, so this would apply to free dress days. And then getting in, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier already, but our dual enrollment program, just to circle back around, we had over 90 plus students headed to college last year. Just to give you an idea of that, it's over half of our juniors and seniors were not on campus. They were going to CSN to get college credits. That's incredible. And so we're looking forward. That number probably will be larger this year. I think over about 100 qualified last year going into this year, and I expect that to continue to increase. So again, we're really excited about the growth of this program. Students in dual enrollment may free dress. That free dress policy is what would apply to that, and you do have to wear your lanyard to identify as dual enrollment, so we're aware of who those students are when they're on our campus. All right, blended learning model. So just gonna touch on this real quick. Technology integration in education is here to stay. This is really where we're at. I think it will continue to evolve, but nevertheless, it's an important part of what we do. We're also a STEM-based school, STEAM-based school, and so the integration of technology in the classroom is part of what our school philosophy is. Blended learning is an important tool and something that I encourage you, and I know it gets harder, especially for students that are in high school, even in middle school, with some of these blended learning programs, but I can tell you, and parents, please know that there is a direct correlation. We've had enough data over the years to see there's an absolute direct correlation between students that actively do their blended learning programs and their state assessments and their overall grades, direct. Almost person by person. Of course, there's a few little outliers here and there, but overall, those who do this program and participate in it and are actively using it and doing their best and working hard at it, they'll find a lot more success both academically but also on high stakes testing. And that's because it's adaptive and it will work in a lot of ways with where the student is at. So if they need foundational skills or different things to support their academics that they may not be able to get in the classroom at that time, they can get it through that program. So these are the programs. iReady's the one that's adaptive. CERT is not as much, but CERT prepares students in high school for ACTs. So CERT, again, is a really, really good program, one that I know all of our students, I see some returners in here, love so much. But it's definitely important to capitalize and take advantage of those programs. One-to-one technology, so all students, if you haven't gotten it already, will get a Chromebook from the school. Please make sure you're taking care of those Chromebooks. That was also one of the reasons why we are not going to have backpacks and stuff in the cafeterias during lunch this year, just to make sure that nothing gets damaged, those Chromebooks are safe. We want to make sure those Chromebooks are kept in the classrooms. That's the tie-in. I know I kind of jumped around there, but the tie-in is the Chromebooks will be safe in the classroom, but make sure you get them. Before and after care. So before care starts at 6 a.m. and aftercare ends at 6 p.m. It's kind of like Safe Key for those who are from the district, but we do have the before and after care option. General info is where you're going to want to go on our website. If you go on our website under general info and click down on before and after care, it will give you all the details. It's comprehensive, it's a lot to read, but it will give you the price points, how it breaks down, and give you the option to sign up or sign in if you need to use that program. These are just a list of some of the fees that you could potentially see on Infinite Campus. This is what your portal will look like, and you see the fees area down here. Going back up, sometimes we will put fees in ahead of time. For example, if there's a field trip coming in a month or so, they may put a field trip on there. It will show you the date that it's due, but this again allows you hopefully time to plan ahead and see incoming potential expenses. Same with certain programs, especially some of the performing arts programs that have bigger costs associated with them. Like I know dance, they'll put it in ahead of time for the whole year, but your only payment amount would be whatever's due that month. It'll at least give you a good idea and breakdown of the whole year, which hopefully is helpful in preparing as a family for those things. Campus safety, just going to touch on this briefly, but 1A, 1B, campus safety, academics. They're hand in hand for me. And so we're really proud that we've always been at the forefront of campus safety from an organizational standpoint. Pinecrest as an organization really, but Pinecrest Cadence as well. We've partnered with a lot of these agencies that you see up on the screen. Henderson Police Department have an incredible relationship with them. They're always willing to help support us whenever we reach out. SWAT has used our facility as training grounds. We'll continue to partner with these agencies that inevitably impact our community in a major way, and when called upon, we definitely need them to support us as well. So we appreciate them and appreciate all they do, and are proud that we're able to have those types of relationships with those individuals. Additionally, we were able to allocate a little bit of funding this year to specific security person. We haven't had that in the past. It's still always a team approach, but we have a security person this year, and that's really nice because you'll see them walking around, they'll have security on the back of their shirt, but they're just going to be solely focused on that. Whereas other people have multiple different jobs and duties, they'll have just that job as security person to walk around, make sure outside doors are secured, make sure everything is safe, and that we're as secure as possible. So really excited that we were able to do that this year, but safety is definitely always a priority for us. National School Program, or National School Lunch Program is free again this year for all students. If you are interested in getting lockers, I know they have locker sales today, and they usually will push it into the first week or so of school. Must sign a consent form. They will assign you a locker number. Sometimes there's some flexibility between having a top row or a bottom row, but overall they're going to assign a spot. You're not going to be able to necessarily pick like, oh, I want to be by this person or that person. It's just too hard. We wish we could accommodate everybody, but it would just be impossible to try and arrange it where everybody got to be by their friends. And just know lockers may be searched by deans and administration at all times for any reason because it is school property. I know there, again, won't be an issue, but just want to be transparent as far as the possibility that we are able to do that. Students are there any student drivers potentially in here? Not yet? Okay. So I'll just kind of skip through that one. Car loop. So tomorrow for car loop, these are some reminders just to be considerate of. 5 miles an hour, there's lots of things going on. Kids are gonna be walking across at times, especially as they learn where the crosswalks are, where the support staff is. Just be attentive when you're going through the loop. I know school zones are supposed to be 5 miles an hour anyways, but sometimes people get flying down that back stretch, and I just, please, we have staff members standing in the middle of the road. Anything can happen. So I know sometimes we're running late to work, we're in a hurry, we got things to do, places to be, people to see, but please be cautious, take your time, don't put our students or our staff at risk, and be courteous to that. All right, I'm just gonna get to this because this is easier to explain from. So tomorrow morning for secondary, so secondary car loop drop-off starts at 7 a.m. So we'll be out there happy and excited, ready to roll at 7 a.m. tomorrow, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to welcome the students back with coffee in hand for sure. But you can only enter through Taylor Street. So Taylor Street is right here where you'll drive down. Make sure you're not turning into that first area because that's one way. There is a sign out there, but if you turn in there, you're gonna be going upstream against traffic. Additionally, sometimes Taylor Street, we've worked with the city the past few years. I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that we'll be able to work through the light schedule and the timing of it. I know whenever we go back to school, there's always a delay between when we're able to get the light schedule where it needs to be because people will get backed up back there on Taylor forever. So just give us be as patient as possible. I know it's hard for the first week. I promise you, give us a week. After a week, we'll have this thing running like no problem at all. It will be 25, 30 minutes max, probably shorter, but it will take a week because we have a lot of new families. We have a bigger school. People have to get used to their timing. Because what will happen is once we get into the school year, people will figure out, oh, I can wait and come later. Some people will come earlier, and it spreads out the group. But in the first few days, everybody wants to get there because they don't want to be late, and I get that. I appreciate that. But what it does is it just causes a congestion and a jam. And so we'll get spread out. We'll figure it out as a community, as a group. But the first week, just be as patient as possible, and we'll work through it together. I'll probably put out 1 or 2 Facebook Lives and communication as well as we see things that we need to tweak or adjust to make it more seamless as we go through the week. But you're gonna come down Taylor, and there will be staff all in the back and on the side and up front. But you'll come down Taylor all the way to the end. This is where they're starting to do construction. Eventually a road will go all the way through. You're gonna make that turn down the back of the school. This is where all the student parking is. And then you're gonna come all the way around to the front to the unloading zone. We'll have people here. What we do is we load in groups at a time. Once all the groups are loaded in, we stop at all traffic. We then give directions to let the students out. We wait till all students are cleared from all the cars in that group, and then we'll release that group. Because we want to make sure that no students get stuck or are running behind a car and somebody doesn't see them. So please just, when you're here, just listen to the people giving instructions. They'll let you know when it's time to go, and then they'll wave you forward. And then you can go and dismiss, and we'll bring in the next group. So that will start from 7, and it will go till 7:25. At 7:25, we're gonna start switching over to elementary car loop. So you may get stuck in the elementary car loop. So if you're, for whatever reason, running late, and it's past 7:25, you may just want to pull into the front office or drop your student off. Because you might get stuck pulling around. So elementary loading starts at 7:25. We start releasing elementary students at 7:35. So we usually load 10 minutes ahead of time. So there's like a transitional period. So we finish with secondary, elementary families start to load, and the elementary families will load all the way around the school, and then at 7:35 we'll start releasing. The other thing, just to touch on, and this might not happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen this year, is because we have so many more students, this used to be overflow parking for parents, and they used to load here after school to kind of try to get here ahead of time. That's not going to be a possibility this year. We have too many students, and this is almost all going to be student parking. So we're really going to have to work together to just time it and work on that transition as seamlessly as possible to get people here and get people through. Worst case scenario, you get here a little early, you loop one time, we get you back in, and we keep moving forward. So again, just we'll all work together. We'll get through this. But are there any last minute questions?
So if there's an elementary and a middle school student, I cannot drop them off at the same time?
You can, but you'd have to pay potentially for like the Teams program for those who haven't started yet. So I know I'm up against the time, actually way up against it, probably way past it, so I apologize. Last thing, and then I'll let you all go. I just want to say thank you. I'm glad I live in a state that has public choice, and we are grateful to have you at Pinecrest Cadence. We know it's a choice for you to bring your students here, and we're appreciative that we have the opportunity to educate them. So thank you, welcome, can't wait to see everybody tomorrow.